Hey, welcome back to the Nature Center, everyone. I'm here in front of one of our newest displays called The Tall and the Small. And if you've ever read any Dr. Seuss books, you may recognize that phrase. Dr. Seuss uses that to talk about everyone, including everyone in his story, the tall and the small. Well, I want to talk about the tall and the small in Michigan. So can you think what might be the tallest animal that lives in Michigan? And if you thought of the moose, you are correct. Now, we've got a moose foot here, just to give you an idea of the size. So this is all their foot, and they actually walk on their toenails. That's interesting. But if this was a full moose, he'd be 6 feet tall at the shoulders. So if I were to stand up and look at a moose, I'd only see his shoulders, and then his head and antlers would even be above that. Some of the largest moose can be 1,800 pounds. That's a big animal. Now, in comparison, the smallest animal that grows in Michigan is the shrew. And this is a least shrew. I'll bring it a little closer so you can see. A lot of people think it's a mouse. It's got a very short tail, but it's actually not a mouse. It's a shrew. They have very sharp teeth, and they eat insects. And they live year-round here under the snow in the wintertime, and they go around and catch hibernating insects in the winter, and in the daytime or nighttime during summer, they'll be out and looking for insects that are crawling around. So that's our smallest and our tallest. And you can see the size difference. That guy could almost fit in the crack between the two toenails of this moose. That's really quite a difference. Well, of course, moose are known for their large antlers as well, but we're going to talk about that at another Nature Nugget later on. So, what is the lesson we can learn from this small little shrew? Well, you know, it reminds me about many stories in the Bible where God has chosen not to use the mightiest and the strongest, but in fact to use the smallest. Can you think of one of those stories? Well, my favorite is a story about David and Goliath, where this great big guy called Goliath, and God could have chosen an army of angels to send. He could have beat up Goliath with a huge storm and an earthquake. He could have sent the Israelites' strongest guys to fight Goliath, but instead, he chose wee little David, a little boy. And so, in today's world, and we talk about so many different problems that we have, the COVID-19, the demonstrations and racism, so many people losing their jobs, you might say, well, what can I as a little person do? Well, in fact, God can use you to do many things. Just remember our little story about the shrew and our story about David, and that makes you realize that you have an important job to do for God. Ask Him to lead you and find that job. Thanks very much, and see you next time.